Well, I mean, you've said it. We've got a lot of headwinds still, which started beginning of 2022. The inflationary environment, high interest rates, rising at record pace, decoupling, Sino-American decoupling discussion, and all of these things. And the IPO market is the most sensitive in the equity capital market space against this kind of news flow. And so we haven't really seen anything last year, save for Porsche, which was an unusual transaction. This year only one, but I think there are some green shoots to be seen. So I expect more transactions in the second half, maybe if we're lucky 3 to 4. And we are having a lot of discussions with clients. So I'm quite optimistic about the next year, going into next year. But it's all about the macro environment and how that will play out eventually.
If you're saying you have discussion with your clients, so what is on top of their minds when thinking about doing an IPO or not?
Well, I think it's about whether they have the right business model and whether their business model is compelling to equity investors. And things have definitely changed since 2020, 2021. Investors are extremely focused on profitable business and whether that is sustainable. Also in a inflationary, high interest rate environment, so leverage, I think, is an issue. But there are macro trends that will be supporting the equity capital markets if the environment is kind of close to benign, I would say. Yeah.
If you're saying that it's, to put it differently, so the focus is rather on traditional companies with not so much leverage versus tech companies or tech-affine companies?
Well, I think it's, I think any sector, companies from any sector could do it if they are seen to be profitable or to be, if there's a tangible prospect of becoming profitable in the short term. So, tech companies, may absolutely be proper IPO candidates if they show these qualities.
Let's look at the general trends, because what we have seen in the past, that it was just a breaking down of conglomerates as well. Mm-hmm. So we've seen the sale or the IPO of different units of big companies such as Siemens, Healthineers, and etc. So do you think that's an ongoing trend?
I think we will continue to see these things. We have industries that are in transition. If you look at the automotive industries, both OEMs and suppliers, they need to focus on what is currently top of their mind and align the business accordingly. So they will be selling non-core businesses or spinning them off in IPO. So we have a couple of discussions in that space. So I expect more in that area, actually. But, another sector that I think is very much on top of minds of investors now is pharma and healthcare, because you've seen the development in the mRNA technology, for example, and I think there's a lot to come in that area. Not necessarily in Germany, unfortunately, but, as a global trend, I think that's clearly visible.